Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is John. I mentioned at the end of my Pile of Possibilities video for Historathon, or the end of my Friday Reads video, back from several days ago, that I went to my first library sale a few weeks ago. And that's the one that's really close to me, that sometimes I'm lucky to find 5 or so books, and that is about what I found. 7, actually, if I'm not mistaken. So I wanted to show you those, and not pile them in with this, which is from another location. So just sort of keep them separate, be fastidious, demure. Some things sort of need no introduction. I can never remember which Thomas Hardy novels I have at the ready and which are in a shed in my garden that I would have to dig under 15 feet of other boxes to find. So I found another copy of Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. This is the Everyman edition. Then I found Everything Else is History. So let's talk about Everything Else. So, by the way, if anyone is interested in anything like this, it's a $10 bag sale. So anything you can shove in a grocery size like bag is yours for $10. So I got these things and a few things I thought my mother might like too. Next up is A.J.P. Taylor's The Course of German History. This is an older edition, in which apparently he says that World War II and Nazi imperialism were sort of inevitable outcomes of German history because of the tendency he thought Germany had for authoritarianism and militarism. So from what I understand, I have never read this before, but he says that something like World War II was bound to happen historically. So it's not one of his better received books, from what I understand, but it's an interesting thesis, and he's obviously an important historian. So The Course of German History, as soon as I saw his name, I just snatched it up. So in my little podunk town of not many people, I think we're still in the 5 figures, I came across a book from Verso Press, a few of which I showed in my Pile of Possibilities video. There you go, Verso, and there's still a tag on it from the library sale. I apologize, I will remove that right now. This is a book, it's a biography of the historian who is responsible for the most popular review on my channel. Not only review, the most popular video on my channel of more than 500 videos is a review of a book called The 20 Years Crisis, which is sort of the seminal description of the school of geopolitical realism in international relations. And that book was written by someone named E.H. Carr, and this is a biography of E.H. Carr. It's called The Vices of Integrity. E.H. Carr, 1892 to 1982, by Jonathan Haslam. And I've actually wanted this for a while, and never thought I would come across it in my small library, but there you go. And one other really big surprise, happy to find all of these, but another really big surprise was this in a nice hard box. You may recognize that lovable face right there. That is Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. And this is Yankee from Olympus. Let me take it out of in pretty much mint condition, by the way. This is written by Catherine Drinker Bowen. If you can see her name there. But apparently this is a biography that has Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. at the center, but is kind of a biography of the whole family. Has the original dust jacket and everything. Also, just the occasional really interesting photograph. Let me see some really lovely black and white plates here. I think there is Oliver Wendell Holmes Sr., better known as the autocrat at the breakfast table, a set of essays and occasional pieces that Holmes Jr.'s father wrote. And then, of course, Holmes Jr. was on the United States Supreme Court for something like 30 years. But I'm looking forward to reading, there's not much to show there, to reading about the whole family, not just Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. There's another picture of him on the back. Let me get this back where it came from. Isn't that such a nice thing? I love that. The weird things that please book people. 2 volumes of history related to Islam. This is a book that came out in the mid-80s. It is called An Introduction to Shia Islam by Mujan Momin. And from what I can tell from the back, this is mostly an introduction to Twelver Islam, which is the most popular subsect of Shiism, and was sort of inspired by everyone who died in the Iranian Revolution. This book is dedicated to all those who have died for the cause of truth in Iran. Of course, this was published just a handful of years after the revolution. So I have been wanting to do, whether I need to use Historathon as an excuse to do this, or just buckle down and get disciplined and engage in a reading project, of which I have several. But I have probably 10, 15, 20 books on Islam ever since, the 630s, when it was founded by Muhammad, to pretty much the present day. And I've read maybe a couple of them. And I really want to go through in a slightly more systematic way and start digging in. The other one is also on Islamic history. This is called Islamic Imperialism, a History by Ephraim Karsh, and this comes out of Yale University Press. I looked on Goodreads, and this might be a more conservative take, a more hawkish take on Islam. But I'm going to give it a chance because it came out of a major university press. So we'll see what it has to say. But I'll read you the first paragraph. From the first Arab Islamic empire of the mid-7th century to the Ottomans, the great last Muslim empire, the story of the Middle East has been the story of the rise and fall of universal empires, and no less important, of imperialist dreams. So argues Ephraim Karsh in this highly provocative book. Rejecting the conventional Western interpretation of Middle Eastern history as an offshoot of global power politics, Karsh contends that the region's experience is the culmination of long-existing indigenous trends, passions, and patterns of behavior, and that foremost among these is Islam's millenarian imperial tradition. So kind of, oddly enough, in the same vein as the H.A.P. Taylor book about history, that there is just something, I don't know, again, I'm not speculating, but maybe something in the region, something in Islamic thought or theology that drives some of the politics. Anyway, we'll see if I ever get around to it. And the last book I found is one I put up in a post several days ago with 5 possibilities for Historathon, for the 4th quarter of Historathon. This didn't make the video list of possibilities, but it still looks like a fascinating book, and I've heard really, really good things about it. This came out in a long time ago. I thought I remembered hearing about this on C-SPAN, but I wasn't watching C-SPAN when I was 15 years old. This came out in 1997. This is Sam Tannenhouse. If you are very bookish, you might recognize his name. He is, who does he review books for these days? Is he still at the New York Times or something? Gosh, New York Review of Books. Didn't he used to be an editor at the New York Review of Books or something? This is his biography of Whittaker Chambers. And Whittaker Chambers was a Soviet spy in the 30s, and then went on to work for Time magazine in the 40s, and was involved with the trial of the century, the Alger Hiss trial in 1949 and 1950, when Hiss was accused of also being a Soviet spy. But this is his story. So I've heard great things about it. It has wonderful Goodreads reviews, but I've never found it anywhere, and was lucky enough to run across a copy. So like I said in the last video also, I have one more library book sale to go to, and that sort of marks the end of my big book acquiring until the Princeton University sale, whenever that happens, hopefully sometime next year, 75% off, keep your fingers crossed. And then when that happens, when I go to the book sale, which is, I believe, on the 10th, it's on Thursday, whatever that day is, soon, I will come back, show you all the stuff I got, and try to do it in one video. Even if it's a large number of books, I'll try to do it in one video. That's all I have for you today. I will try my best to get some reviews out. I have a lot of books that I've been reading over the past few months that I haven't had a chance to actually sit down and type out my ideas around. But I will do that, and hopefully talk to you very soon. Let me know if you have any comments or concerns, questions, anything down below, and bye for now.